Will the orange and blue wake up from their holiday slumber? The road-weary travelers from Nashville sure hope not. We get you set for the Oilers and Predators on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Hope you're doing well out there. Welcome to the Oil Stream pregame show. Tom Gazzola with you inside the satellite studios. Somebody's trying to call me right when I'm starting the show. We're not going to have that today. Shawn Belle standing by, and Benny Thomson also in tow. He is back at EST Global HQ. Of course, you could join the conversation. Text us 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat as well. Hit that thumbs up. We always appreciate it very, very much. And it's the Oilers and the Preds for the first of three meetings this season. This team will lock up with the Preds again later on this month, and then they'll do it again in a couple of months' time. And the Preds playing really well right now, 7-3 in their last 10, starting to pick it up after being doormats all of last season and a good portion early on this year. All right, let's bring in the boys, Ben Thomson and Shawn Belle. Bellsy, a little under the weather, gutting it out today. Did you have a balance from Sense Naturals? That is good stuff. It's good for immune health.
Balance or Sense Naturals at all. Right now I'm on this.
Whoa. What is that?
A little buble.
A buble.
A little buble. And that's been helping. So
really?
I battled through Reed's show, Reed and Jay. I'm here today, gutting it out like a true warrior.
You are a warrior, and there's a lot of illness happening, it seems like, in and around our city and in the province, and hopefully you're not knocked out for too long. It doesn't seem like you are. Were you at the rink today?
I was at the rink. Yeah, so it's actually weird because on my birthday, we went to Japanese Bistro, and I had the green tea. An hour later, my voice was gone.
Well, were you doing shots and yelling a lot?
Didn't have sniffles, wasn't congested. Nothing. And so then I ended up at Rebel with a buddy of mine, and I had an old fashioned, and then all of a sudden my voice came back. And then the next day, completely gone. So this is what you get 2 days after it was completely gone. So hopefully it works out.
Are you saying this is a self-induced illness, perhaps?
No, it's not, because I wasn't. I didn't even get into it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was really weird. So I don't know.
I'm befuddled. But I'm also not a doctor.
Yeah, here we are.
Now, Benny, how you doing? I didn't see you today.
I'm good. I was doing some clips, and then Zach was feeling under the weather, so I filled in for the final 2 hours of Reed's show, so that was good. Excited for what should be an interesting one tonight with Nashville in town. A couple, there's some trades and some former players are going to be playing against each other, and got lots of storylines to talk about tonight. So, yeah, it should be a good one.
Okay, I found out who it is. It's Joaquin who's here.
Joaquin just walked in the building or what?
Yeah, so I'm like, who is coming in here? Oh, boy. All right, so it was Joaquin this entire time. Thanks for the heads up, Gager. Really appreciate it. He should be getting in. No problem here. I'm sorry for the confusion out of the gates here, but we can blame one Joaquin Bartholomew Gage for that one. So, all right, let's move on here. For the Oilers tonight, interesting lineup for them. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman, Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Kapanen, Henrique between Howard and Roslovic, Lazar centering Janmark and Savoy. You got Ekholm paired up with Bouchard, Nurse with Regula, Stasny with Emberson, no Riley Stillman, no Trent Frederick, no Andrew Mangiapane. Before we dive into some things here, boys, just some reaction initially, Bellsy, when you saw Mangiapane and Frederick were both healthy scratches.
Well, I mean, it's not good. And, you know, for both of their games, you'd have to sit back and ask if it's been good enough. And I think the answer for everybody is that it hasn't been. And so, you know, those guys need a bit of a reset. You got Mangiapane, who, you know, he's in trade talk and rumors. They're floating all around. So he's a guy that's been looking to potentially get out. And, you know, now he's on the outside looking in. So like I said on the Reed show, is like, are they doing enough? And will this reset help to get them, I guess, into their best hockey. And that's what you're hoping for, especially for a guy like Frederick, who's got an 8-year deal. You need him. You need a guy that's going to bring the physicality on a daily basis. You moved on from Evander Kane. We can comment whatever we felt about Evander Kane, but this is the guy that's supposed to be replacing him, and he hasn't brought that. So he's got another reset, another opportunity to sit back and reflect on his game, and hopefully he can figure it out moving forward.
Benny Thomson, just so everyone knows that's been watching, Joaquin is securely in the satellite studio.
Good.
Yeah. I knew you. Yes, we're all very happy.
Very important. Yes.
Yeah.
You better have a beer in his hand too.
Joke's on him. I drank it all on Saturday.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, this is. I'm surprised. For one, not just. I'm not saying like right now. I'm saying if you were telling me before the year, game 40 was a 42.
This is 43 tonight.
43 of the NHL season. And Trent Frederick and Andrew Mangiapane, your two big forward signings this year, they're health bombed. Game 43 in a year. That is shocking. And you can blame Bowman, you can blame Knobloch, you can blame whoever you want. I mean, ultimately, it's going to come down to the players, and they simply just have not been good enough. This is not the first time either of them have been scratched. But to me, the Mangiapane one's a little bit different to Frederick. Mangiapane's benching to me, or being sat, is more he wants out. We've talked about it. Same. It seems like he wants out, and he's kind of just waiting to get traded at this point. And it seems like there's teams that are interested, so it shouldn't take that long, hopefully, to where he gets moved to a better opportunity for him. For Trent Frederick, this is his third time, I believe, being scratched. And the first two times, we didn't really see a whole lot from it. Is the third time going to change anything? I don't think so. To me, you're kind of you know where you're getting with them now. We're halfway through a year, guys. Like this is the guy you're getting, at least for this season, probably in my opinion.
Right.
And to me, when we're coming playoff time, I don't know if Trent Frederick's going to make this lineup now. Like now he's being sat in game 43 and assuming that they add at the deadline and they make some moves and guys get healthier and whatever. Like Trent Frederick being sat a third time, if he doesn't come back looking like Boston Trent Frederick, we're talking about a guy that's probably a healthy scratch day one of playoffs if his play doesn't turn around. So it's such a interesting and compelling storyline that to follow for the rest of the year. One will last longer with Trent Frederick, where Mangiapane should end here pretty soon.
Listen, Benny, I cannot off the top of my head recall a time where a guy has woken up in the middle of a season after going through such a poor start the way Frederick has. Bellzy, I think, would be better suited to speak to how a guy like that's mentality would be after getting healthy scratched a bunch of times in recent games. But I can't recall Bellzy, anybody just all of a sudden like coming out of the gates after being healthy scratched and just absolutely waking up after having an abysmal offensive season.
Well, I mean, I've seen it before. But the thing is like, what's the body language? What's the demeanor when you come out of being sat like that? And
they don't sit in the press box, by the way.
Yeah.
I know Reed and Jay were talking about that. They stay in the room.
Yeah. And for me, like, I'd be pissed. I remember I've been healthy scratch and I wasn't content with it. I was pissed with it. And because I wanted to get out there and show what I could do. And so the next time I was able to get out there, you're trying to put your best foot forward. So when you look at this Oiler lineup and you know how it's the roster composition of it, well, you know that you're not going to be relied upon to score. So I've made this point before is, well, then how do you become a factor? How do you make an impact in the lineup? And right now for a guy like Frederick, it's very, very simple. It's about as black and white as you possibly can get. Go out and be physical. Go out and make sure that you're imposing your will on the opposing team. And so that's what you want to see from him. Like, I honestly could care, and this is just my opinion, I could care less if he got even remotely 5 goals.
Yep.
But if he was going out and he was hitting, and occasionally he was dropping the mitts, protecting his teammates, if he was blocking shots, and he was just being a guy that was hard to play against, I personally would be happy. Now, I can't speak for the Oilers management. I can't speak for the team itself. I can't speak for my fellow media people, and I can't speak for the fans. But in my opinion, I could care less if he scored another goal. But I'd like to see a guy that went out and was really hard to play against, and he made life miserable for the opposing team. To me, that would be a valuable addition to that Oiler team.
All right. Have your say. Text us 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat as well. Of course, this is the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel edge components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical edge component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. I see Joaquin is also not only in my kitchen, but he is in the chat. He says, it looks like Tommy actually cooked. There is actual leftovers in his fridge. Might need to get him some Tupperware for his birthday. It's still in the pot. I have plenty of Tupperware. Thank you very much. And
he's just living the bachelor lifestyle, Gager. That's all he's doing.
I can hear him like rummaging through drawers. So anyway,
too funny.
There's no garlic for you to cook. Let's get to a couple texts here before we get into the Preds lineup and your starting goalies. Nice lid, says Chris. To your Arizona Diamondbacks lid, Benny. I noticed that earlier. Well done, sir. Nolan from St. Albert texting says, Chris Bartholomew Knobloch's comments today about Frederick and Mangiapane were scalding. $7.45 million in the press box is wild. No bueno. We will hear from him shortly. Okay. Here is what the Preds. We have to see when warm-up happens how they actually roll up, but this is what they had on Daily Faceoff. Ryan O'Reilly between Philip Forsberg and Luke Evangelista. Eric Holla with Michael Bunting and Steven Stamkos. Then the other complete line is Michael McCarron with Reed Schaefer and Cole Smith. Schaefer, of course, an Oilers first rounder a few years ago. Tyson Jost and Fedor Svechkov are the other forwards. There's 7 defensemen for the Predators. Roman Josi with Nick Perbix, Brady Shea with Adam Wilsby, Nicholas Hague with Nick Blankenberg, Justin Barron, your 7th D-man. Your starting goalies for tonight. 28-year-old Connor Ingram, 2-2 on the season, 328 goals against average, 883 save percentage in 4 games this season. And then lifetime versus the Preds, Ingram, a 3-2-2 record. 396 goals against average, 887 save percentage in 7 appearances versus Nashville. At the other end of the rink, 30-year-old UC Saros, 16-13-3 with a 293 GAA, 896 save percentage in 32 games this season. His record versus Edmonton, 3-7-1 with the 325 GAA, 909 save percentage, 2 shutouts in 12 games versus the Oil over the course of his career. That takes us to the Advantage Sport Medicine and Physiotherapy Injury Report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Advantage Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today, www.advantagesportmed.ca, or call 780-460-9977. For the Oilers, Tristan Jarry today moved to LTIR after Kasperi Kapanen was activated. Jake Wallman remains on LTIR, lower body. Chris Knobloch adding that he expects Jarry to be out 2 more weeks. Take it for what it's worth. I went and got some video of Jarry doing some work with Peter Aubry, the Oilers goalie coach, as he continues to work his way back to full health. As for Nashville, you got Jonathan Marchessault day-to-day lower body and Ozzy Weisblatt IR upper body. Let's get to Game Changers with game analyst Shawn Belle, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for over 18 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, DamonBunting.com, or visit his Instagram page at Damon Bunting Real Estate. All right, Bellsy, number 1, new look lines.
Yeah, the new look lines, to me, when I look at that, it's almost like there's a balance between 3 lines. And, you know, early on Reed's show, we talked about Kapanen and Roslovic and where guys should be slotted. And I think we could all probably argue that Roslovic should be on the second line based on his body of work. But right now he's playing on the third line with Howard, who's a guy that, you know, has lit up the AHL. He's back up. He's got some more confidence. He was signed here to be a guy that can help put the puck in the net, to add a little bit more offense or that secondary scoring. Then you've got a guy like Henrique who's defensively responsible, and you have three lines that you're hoping can now put the puck in the net or give a little bit more offensive punch. And so when I look at these lines, I kind of like them. I think there's a little bit more balance. And if you have the ability to have Draisaitl and McDavid split up, you're a harder team to defend. So when I look at that, it looks like there's three lines. At least there's balance. There's scoring on all three lines. And guys can go and have favorable matchups, especially that Howard, Henrique, Roslovic lineup, playing against guys that are a little bit lesser in competition, maybe that fifth, sixth defenseman, and maybe you can capitalize by getting a goal there. So three pretty balanced lines. Then you have Janmark, Lazar, and Savoy. To me, when I look at Savoy, I don't think he should be on the fourth line. But the reality is it might turn into a blender anyway, and you could see him move up, and you could very well see him, centering that third line, depending on, depending on how Henrique looks. So there is some line flexibility. I think there's some depth there, and hopefully they have a better start than the one that they've had the last couple of games.
You did yourself, Tom.
Okay, Bellsy, get a sip of your beverage there, regroup, and I'll read a couple texts, and then we'll get into point number 2. George and Morgan texting us said, you and Dusty called it, Tommy. My colleagues couldn't believe me when I told them they'd be scratched, both Frederick and Majapane. Yeah, I mean, I think when Dusty and I talked about it on Oil Stream yesterday, it was more so like they should be scratched. I kind of didn't think that they would actually go through with it, but sure enough, here we are. They have scratched both veteran wingers, and a sign of how poor both seasons from those individual players have been. Coach Mike texting, it says Frederick and Mangiapane have been out for a public skate most nights. Coach Mike, very, very valid point. Okay. Let's go into point number 2 on Game Changers. Bellsy, I hope your voice is holding up. Hot Preds.
Yeah, the Hot Preds are 7-3 their last 10 games. One of the hallmarks of, their resurgence is that right now they average 2.8 goals a game. And right now in this last little stretch of hockey, they're at 3.4. But what the real telling stat is that they went from giving up 3.3 to 1.9. So there's obviously been, I guess, a renewed sense of the defensive end and how to play in the defensive end and to limit chances and, take away that time and space, the stuff that we've talked about where Edmonton needs to do that. And it looks like the Preds have been doing that. So usually when you have a stretch where you're scoring 3 goals a game, but you're only giving up 1, more often than not, you're going to do a good job and you're going to win those games. And right now for the Preds, they've been playing good hockey. They've been playing in your face. I mean, one of the last games that I watched, they're all over people. Guys were fighting. They're starting scrums. They're being a nuisance and being a hard out. And those are teams that give the Oilers fits. And we've seen that along the way, especially this season.
All right. The Preds, by the way, just some stats to throw your way as we allow Bellsy to regroup here for his final point of Game Changers. 9-9-2 on the road this season. Edmonton 10-5-3. At home this year, the Oilers have won 7 of the last 8 home games against Nashville, including 2 in a row. Overall, Edmonton's won 4 straight home games against they've absolutely owned the Preds overall against the Preds. And then 13-1-1 is the record in the last 15 games against Nashville. So dominance from an Oilers point of view. But like Bellsy said, the Preds are hot right now and are looking to snap that little streak that they have had going against the Oilers, which has not been a particularly good one. All right. It is Game Changers with Shawn Bell. Point number 1, new look lines. Point number 2, hot Preds. Point number 3, Bellsy, goaltending.
Yeah, goaltending, who knows what it's going to be. I mean, Jari is now, week to week, 2 weeks out. You're trying to find some stability in the net. First 3 games from Ingram, they were really good. His last one wasn't so good. Pickard, he's had great starts. He's had, he's been up and down. Right now from the goaltending position, I think what you want is to try to find just average because you're trying to almost like tread water until Jari comes back because he is your, number 1 goaltender. So who's going to be the guy that can go in and capture the net and kind of carry that mail until Jari gets back. And right now, a couple games ago, we were kind of thinking and leaning towards Ingram being the guy. But based off his last game, you sit back and you go, okay, like where is the goaltending at? And you need to have that save. And when we've seen the Oilers get that save, they usually end up winning the game. And that's been something that's been plaguing this team since obviously the Skinner era, which was only a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago. But it's something that factors in if you want to get these 2 points, especially games now where they're starting to matter a little bit more for placement in the standings.
Bellsy, I'm going to throw this at you. You can answer it really quickly. Sorry for squeezing this one in. It's a question from Ryan from Sask, who sends it in via the text line 780-218-9999. And he says, will the lengthy Olympic break give a guy like Frederic an opportunity to change the narrative in the season?
Yeah, maybe he just gives him some time to reflect on his game. I mean, sitting out should do that. Sitting out, and especially if you feel like you are a guy that shouldn't be sitting out, well, it's got to motivate you in some way. Mm-hmm. So if you're that coach and you see him walk out of your office after, hearing, okay, well, you're sitting out, yeah, and he's pissed off, that's a good thing, because that now becomes a motivated player, and you want to see a guy go out and do something. So will the Olympic break be the catalyst? Maybe. Will this particular sit be the catalyst? Maybe. But at some point, Frederic needs to look in the mirror and say, hey, this is what I'm here for. This is how I play. And when I was in Boston putting up 40 points, it's how I played. Mm-hmm. So get back to your game, simplify your game if you have to. Just go run into people. End of story.
Bellsy, you gutted one out tonight. Rest that voice for the post-game show. Well done, sir. And we won't bother you much more until after the game, all right?
Thanks, boys. Take care.
There you go. There's our game analyst, Shawn Belle, with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell a home, check him out, damonbunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Benny, any follow-up from what Bellsy brought up there in Game Changers? Kind of had 3.5 points there with that question from Ryan from Sask in regard to Trent Frederic and the the Olympic break.
Yeah, just my thought process on Trent Frederic to me, I think this is what you're getting. No matter the scratch tonight, the Olympic break that he's going to have, or any sort of wake up call that they're going to try to give him. I think this is what you got in him. When I watch him play, I don't think it's a lack of wanting to do things. When I see him go on a forecheck and a defenseman makes a play up the wall, to me, like he is forced to not make that hit because he's always late to it, in my opinion. To me, the biggest thing with him is that he isn't in the position or has the foot speed as of right now to have an impact with hitting guys or being in the right position to make plays or any of that stuff. So I think right now it's a lack of foot speed and overall just like the way he's thinking the game right now. I don't think there's a reset for him. And in terms of the depth of what you're wanting out of your depth guys, I mean, this has been one of the worst stretches of depth scoring and overall the bottom six on the McDavid-Draisaitl era. And Reed said it, I think, best on our most previous post-game show. The bottom six isn't giving you anything right now. They're not giving you scoring, but they're also not giving you any impact, physicality, good in their own. Like they're not good in their own zone. They're nothing. They're going out there and they are hurting the team at points. So right now you gotta give some looks to guys that maybe you haven't given enough to. Ike Howard, could he be a fix to your depth scoring? We'll see. Can Kapanen provide some scoring, some physicality? We'll see. But honestly, I don't know if it's in this room this year as of right now. And I think if they're gonna fix that bottom six, it's got to come from elsewhere. And I'll start off with the Mangiapane trade. So we'll see what happens.
All right. One thing that came in from Casino Dealer Jay via the nasty chat, I just want to get to very quickly. Casino Dealer Jay asked, is there an Oilers team psychologist? Now, remember that George Mumford guy that was around? He has not been around this year. And that has been noticeable. I am looking at the team directory. He's not listed, George Mumford. However, the closest thing to a team psychologist is a mental performance and player development under the hockey operations staff, Vincent Maltz. I'm not familiar with Vincent. Maybe I've seen him around, but that is mental performance and player development. So maybe they've gone in a different direction. I do know that it was pricey, and the budgets are a concern always on any operation and business. But that Casino Dealer J is the best answer I can give you. So I did a quick search, went to the team media guide, and that is the best answer I could come up with. So there you go. I don't know to what extent they utilize him, Vincent Maltz, but that's a resource that apparently they have available to them. All right, let's go inside the Oilers locker room. Let's hear from head coach Chris Knobloch first. Some interesting takes from the head coach, and he did speak to Mangiapane, and he did speak to Trent Frederick, both being healthy scratches. Here is Chris Knobloch.
Frederick out tonight, is that you're sticking with that?
Yes, that is. They're not playing tonight.
So, I mean, if at the start of the season you'd be thinking about healthy scratching these guys on the same night, I imagine you've been surprised at that idea. What do you think's happened here, Chris, and why do you find yourself in this spot where two guys that were supposed to be big parts of this can't get in the lineup here?
Yeah, things haven't worked out, and not that it's over, but I think that one, we've felt that they haven't played as we've expected, and I think that there's more for them to give us. But also we've got some young guys that have deserved to get some opportunities to play, and Hudson was here. Obviously he's not here now, but Howard being in the lineup. Lazar, who has been a scratch for the last couple games, had been playing, his last game was in Winnipeg, played really well, and then came out, and we got a lot of guys who can play the bottom six, and right now we're just wanting more from those guys, and a little bit of a reset for those two.
There's been a recent history of the organization grabbing some players thinking maybe they can be a fit in and around that top 6-7 forwards type thing. Arvidsson last year, Skinner, and Mangiapane this year. Rostovic's obviously maybe worked out a little better, but is it a tricky spot being a secondary scorer on this team given the power play balance, given the way the lineup works sometimes? Is it anything environmental you think that's causing some of this?
Yeah, you see players go from team to team, and sometimes it's fit, sometimes it's not. And you look at Rosovic, and you think about how well that's been a fit for us. And you look at his scoring is at a high. And other guys have come, and we've had high hopes, and it hasn't worked out as well as we wanted to. And it's just, there's a lot of factors, and a lot of off-ice factors, on-ice factors, and, how the coach deploys them, a lot of things. And, I don't think there's a certain recipe, or there's not one answer for each player. Yeah, we need those two players who aren't playing tonight are part of our team, and we got to find a way to have them contribute.
You're the liaison between the GM and the team. You got to keep your dressing room in good stead. You got to keep, the right vibe going on in there. How difficult is all of this on you, the head coach?
Piece of cake. No problem at all. Stan and I talk, and he understands what goes on in the dressing room and the decisions I have to make, and I absolutely understand the things that he does, and he's looking more long-term and what our team needs, and all our decisions we make, whether it's Stan calling somebody up or sending somebody down, or me putting somebody in the lineup. We're always talking about what's best for our team, short-term and long-term, and I think we're trying to work those things out. And not that every decision we're making is the best one, but I think the more communication we have, and we have a lot of it, hopefully we are on the right side more often.
Chris, will it be Connor Ingram tonight?
Connor, yes.
Howard obviously has a
he's a guy who's expected that eventually he can contribute offensively, be a goal scorer in the NHL. He showed it in the AHL. For you, during his time here, is it important for you that he has an opportunity to play with other guys who are a little bit more offensive so that, he gets a chance to maybe contribute offensively by playing with other guys who are a little bit more on the skilled side, I guess?
Yeah, absolutely. Tonight, excellent opportunities on line with Roslovic. Roslovic's a pretty good offensive player, and not that they'll be sitting in a shutdown role. It is a tricky fine line. You want those players to be in a position to succeed and play in more of a scoring opportunity, but it's also tough that you're playing with those players, you're in a top six, and you're also playing against other teams' best players, and are you quite ready? So I think Howie's got a lot of potential. He's going to be a great player for us, and whether that's his recall right now or weeks down the road or months, whatever it is, I think he'll be a big part of the Oilers organization for a while.
You have any update on Jarry?
Jarry returning roughly about 2 weeks. He's been on the ice a little bit. He's been getting some shots, first just pretty much on his own. He's had a few shots with players on the ice with him, but I would say about 2 weeks.
Sure. 2 weeks, huh? Oh. See you after the Olympics. I'm kidding. I'm trying to be optimistic here. There's head coach Chris Knobloch of the Oilers. I was in that scrum this morning, and I was like, oh, it's interesting the way he spoke of the young guys and Howard, and he talked more about the future, and Joaquin and Hernan were talking about a bit. Like what's the reluctance to play the young guys? And Knobloch even said it in that availability. He's got a GM thinking long-term, whereas the coach is thinking short-term. I get what he means, but don't you want to be on the same page? And like, okay, I'll help you build for the future, but I also want to give you as much as I can to win right now, because the pressure is to win right now, not just on the head coach, on the damn GM, on the CEO of hockey operations. Like, you've got two of the best players in their prime in the world. You got to win now. And I know, listen, there's ebbs and flows to how teams are built and to their life cycle and all that, even in the NHL. But I just found some of that interesting. Benny, what did you hear when you read between the lines there from Chris Knobloch?
Yeah, I'm left kind of questioning the same thing that Gager and Joaquin, or sorry, Gager and Hernan were saying. Like, it kind of seems like there is a disconnect with Knobloch and Bowman, and we talked about it over the season, or sorry, the off season. The Oilers were old and slow. That was their biggest critique last year. They're old and slow. So they got younger, and I think they needed to get younger. Matt Savoy has been a great addition to this team. Ike Howard for the Sam O'Reilly trade. They wanted to speed up the youth prospects. They wanted to speed that up a little bit and have Ike Howard come in and maybe score some goals this year. And if it doesn't work out that way, okay.
Can I tell you something really quickly?
Yeah.
I really liked watching Sam O'Reilly in the World Juniors.
He looked pretty damn good.
I enjoyed talking to him too. I think the kid's going to be a player. I'm sorry to get you off track.
Yeah. And when my buddies and I were watching the game, he's like, "Oh, that was a good play with Sam O'Reilly," and I'm just sitting there going, "Expletive." Yeah. I don't know if
I'm not knocking Howard.
No, 100%. And they made the trade knowing that Sam O'Reilly was that player. They didn't. It's not like they didn't believe in him or anything. I'm sure they knew he was a good prospect. Mm-hmm. That's why they traded up to draft him. But Howard, they're expecting more of an NHL impact sooner than Sam O'Reilly, which I think is a fair bet. And so it's why I was for the trade. But you're looking at them, Quinn Hudson, up and down. Who knows? Maybe gets another call up. We'll see. But it just seems like when Knobloch has a certain system that he wants his young guys to be able to play before he trusts them. And I think that's why he trusts Savoy more than Howard and Hudson. Now Savoy's on the fourth line today, which is I believe his first time this year being on the fourth line. I think it's just how the lines are working out. He wants some depth scoring, and he wants certain guys playing in certain spots. So I think that's why Savoy's on the fourth line. I don't expect it to stay there for too long. But I think he has a very big emphasis on being able to be in your own zone and playing well in your own zone. And I think Savoy has that over Hudson and Howard as to why he's on the first PK, as to why he's out there, in some important times in the game. So I think that's why his leash is very short with those guys. But I think you got to let them go a little bit. You got to let them run. You got to let them have their moments. They're young rookies, and of course they're going to make mistakes, but they could be that second wave of offense that this team is desperately needing right now. Like, if I tell you right now, if Connor and Leon don't show up tonight, Oilers are losing. Like, I'm sorry, it's how it is. Like, that's how the Oilers are playing right now. It is Connor and Leon. If they don't show up tonight, the Oilers are losing against the Predators tonight. That's how it is. So you need your second wave of offense to come. And Howard could be that guy if you give him the proper minutes and situations and opportunities. So, yeah, I mean, I understand there could be a disconnect between Knobloch and Bowman. It's a mix of growing your young guys, but also giving them the right opportunity because they could help you right now.
We'll see how this goes. Coach Mike had a question here. It says, is this a one and done for both players? Is there a method to madness with Knobloch scratchy players? I'm surprised Lazar sat after the Winnipeg game as he was one of the only players going that night. The Frederic thing is different. This is how I look at it, Coach Mike. And from what I understand from the information I've gathered and talking to people in and around the team, Frederic, his situation is different. Let's just look at the face value part of this. One guy wants out, and that's Andrew Mangiapane, right? Yep. And they're actively working to find him a new home. His agent, Stan Bowman, they're trying to find him an out. And in the meantime, they don't feel like he's providing enough to the team to dress him. Now, you heard Chris Knobloch say, well, their story isn't over, or something like that off the top when he was like, I think for Mangiapane, it's fair to say his time here is done. So that doesn't hold true to Mangiapane's case. With Frederic's case, and I know a lot of Oilers fans would like to fire him into the sun. We see it every postgame.
100%.
Even on pregame. We see it on our shows Monday to Friday. We see it. That is not as realistic, I don't think. I think that they still feel like Frederic could reach the potential and the level of play that he had a couple of years ago with the Bruins. Also, I don't know who else would even want that contract on that term. So with Frederic, like, yes, anytime he comes back into the lineup, do they hope it sparks him and he wakes up? 100%. Do they hope that the Olympic break gives him that time to flip the page and start fresh and he can get going again? 100%. Next year, when he comes back to camp and he's not skating on the first line all of camp and all of preseason, and he's just in the third or fourth line position, and he can go and just stick with what made him a good NHL player, maybe that's what he's going to need. Disconnect from the game. And sometimes the summer will do that for a guy. But I think that is more of a long-term thing. And I don't think, the Frederic dilemma is going anywhere as opposed to the Mangiapane one. Yeah. And yes, and Belzy made a good point earlier. And it was a very good reminder. They 100% expected Frederic to replace the toughness that Evander Kane brought. 100%. That was something that was directly told to me. Frederic's going to be the muscle with us moving Kane on somewhere else. And guess what? Like you said, he's slow to get to hits, slow to get in on forechecks, caught waving his stick at opposition players as opposed to taking the body. Doesn't quote unquote play in the equipment of the opposition. I was thinking, and I really hope that he is healthy. Maybe he isn't. Maybe that ankle hasn't fully healed. If it's healed, to what degree it's healed, it doesn't matter because he just doesn't get there quick enough. Is it his anticipation? Maybe. Does he take bad angles to the opposition players or to the puck? Yeah, probably. He looks slow out there, looks a step behind, and it's been all season long. But I don't think that the Frederick problem and being able to get rid of him is going to be as easy to solve as maybe the Mangiapane one. Just my opinion.
Yeah. If he's still recovering from this high ankle sprain, I mean, obviously you can't force the guy, but like this team would benefit a whole lot shutting him down for the year and letting him fully recover from it. I mean, he's a healthy scratch right now.
They haven't put him on IR. They haven't put him on LTIR. It's not like they've really needed him. It's not like he's really provided anything. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys just play like crap.
Yeah. That's true. That could very
maybe
well be
maybe that's it. I hope it isn't. Maybe I hope that there's some underlying issue that has prevented him from playing the way he has played in the NHL. Sometimes guys just play like crap. And that's 100% the way Trent Frederick has played outside of maybe a couple of games, unfortunately. All right, let's go back inside the Oilers locker room. Let's hear from Leon Draisaitl, who has absolutely dominated the Nashville Predators over the course of his career. And maybe the Preds are something that sparks his offensive game more so on the goal side of things.
You know, what do you think is the most important area to try and get back on track here for the group since the break? Maybe what's your most focus?
I think there's a few things that need to be cleaned up. Obviously, I think our away from the puck, the way we defend, our mindset in defending, and that will obviously eventually lead to more offense for us. But I think it starts there, just defending a little bit better, and just the mindset of it.
It's been there's been a lot of different people on your ways throughout this season, kind of coming and going. Just maybe give us a thought on, what that's like for you, kind of working with different people at different times. Your willingness to keep doing it and helping people along here, but maybe not ideal at times too. Is that fair?
No, I mean, it's been like that for 10 years. I'm used to playing with different guys. There's times where I like it. We got a lot of great players on our team that I enjoy playing with. So, I'm good with it.
Stability overall in four lines. This has never been something this team's had, frankly. But you've succeeded with it. Does it get chaotic when the lines are different every night, or you guys?
Well, I mean, I think ideally you want a little bit more security and a little bit more of the same in your lineup. But obviously we have had success in not having that at times too. So I think there's a fine line between it.
Leon, can you maybe talk about Kasperi Kapanen and his long road back? Obviously, we know he suffered that injury in practice, so it's been a few months for him, and what it's like as a teammate to see him go through that process.
It was tough to see him go down the first time around when he was coming back. So I think we're all excited for his energy, excited for him as a human being more so. I think it's been a long year for him. Rehabbing or not being around the group is really, really tough. It's not fun, and just excited for him to be around the guys, to get that adrenaline and for him to play hockey again is the most important right now.
He may be on your line tonight when he hasn't played since October. When a guy hasn't played that long, do you have to, as a lineman, do you try to do anything to help him feel more comfortable?
No, you got to give him a little bit of time. I mean, he's missed a big almost half a year here, so you got to. I'm going to try and help him out as much as I can. Get him his touches and make him feel confident in his game early, but it's going to take time. It's just the way it is, but. He looks great out there, and very excited to have him back.
Recently, the goals maybe haven't been coming for you at the same pace you're accustomed to. How do you feel about your game from a goal scoring standpoint, where that's at?
Not really seeing it, not really getting the looks that I want to get. So obviously something that I'm continuing to chip away at, and trying to find my game a little bit, and
Well, you've played with Manji Pani. What's been working for him this season, and what maybe hasn't so much?
I mean, coming to a new team is hard at times. You got to find your role. You got to establish a role for yourself, and I'm sure he wants more. He likes more, and I'm sure he's the first guy to tell you that. But that's between him and the coach. That's not really up to us players. So, his attitude has been nothing but amazing. Truly, like, he brings a lot of energy to the group, and we'll see.
All right, there's Leon Draisaitl, 3 goals in his last 13 games, but he has absolutely owned the Predators. Just quick reference on how well he's done against Nashville. So in 29 games, he has 48 points, 27 goals, 21 assists, plus 13, 4 penalty minutes. That is 4th most against the rest of the National Hockey League. He has put up 51 points against Anaheim over the course of his career. He's absolutely crushed the Calgary Flames with 69 points in 51 games. And then he also has torn up the Vancouver Canucks with 62 points in 50 games. Then it's the Nashville Predators, 48 points in 29 games. That's pretty damn impressive, Benny Thomson.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
If there's a team to kind of get him out of this bad stretch he's been on, it's probably a pretty good team to match him up against. I mean, he's got 3 goals in 13 games, and all 3 of them came in one of those games. So scoreless in the other 12. So yeah, I said last post game I did not like his game at all, and I think it's been bad since the Christmas break. I hope that that turns around tonight because they need him.
Yes, they do. Can't just be Connor McDavid. They need a lot of guys to chip in, a lot of guys to sharpen up their play. They've been sluggish since the Christmas break, which is crazy because it was 3 days. 3 days. And people are right when they say, what's with this team when they can't come out of a break well? And completely valid. Absolutely. And then you think back and you're like, hang on a sec. Our Christmas break wasn't very long. There was the game on the Saturday, then we had Christmas, or pardon me, the game on the Tuesday, then we had Christmas, and then the game on the Saturday. That's 3 days. That's yeah. And they've been sluggish. It's bizarre. And I don't know. Maybe it's a group mentality thing. Maybe they did play hard and they just weren't getting the bounces. I don't believe. I'm grasping at straws when I bring up stuff like that, but. Perhaps the medicine is the Nashville Predators, although Nashville 7-3 in its last 10. Okay, Benny, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get to a game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. Then we're going to hear from Andrew Burnett briefly, and then we'll wrap things up here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. We'll get to a couple texts as well. But your game day odds check brought to you by our good friends and presenting sponsors of our station, Play Alberta. When you play in Alberta, it stays in Alberta safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected into Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. Your money line for tonight, Edmonton minus 149 last I checked. I know it moved from the morning into the early evening and late afternoon. Nashville was at plus 127. The over-under was set at 6.5. The over at minus 130. The under at minus 102. Again, that line may have moved just slightly, but that is your game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. Hop on the daily specials that we have under the EST tab. There's some good ones there. The Screw It, Let's Do It. It's always a fun one. They almost hit it yesterday. Jay's play of the day, the early bird play of the day. You got your partner parlays as well. I think there's a grandest parlay I hopped on as well. They didn't have, I think there was a soccer match that they didn't have included, and I got in on it beforehand. So it bumped the total up quite a bit, actually. Some big numbers there. If you hit, it's going to be a juicy one. So hop into Play Alberta and remember to use your game sense. All right. Let's go and hear a little bit from Andrew Burnett, head coach of the Nashville Predators.
Well, I think details in our discipline. Obviously, we've given up some first period goals here of late, and we've gotten away with it, and we understand we can't get away with it all the time. So the mindset has to be into the details here right from the puck drop.
Easy to notice Michael Bunting in Calgary is noticeable most nights from one way or another, but
how has he been effective recently for you?
Well, I think when he's skating and he's hounding pucks and he's on top of the pucks, good things happen. And I thought their line played exceptional. The other night, they drove us to a victory.
Any lineup changes tonight? Are you guys going 11-7?
It'd be kind of game time decisions. We've got a few decisions to make here.
Steven Stamkos, obviously 600 goals the other day, but what does it mean to have a guy like that in your room, and kind of influences you have on some maybe your younger players?
Well, I mean, we're really grateful to have him. I think his leadership that he brings to everybody, and, to the bench, to the team, and to the young guys. I mean, I think for our young guys to watch how he works every practice. He's one of the hardest workers on our team. He's always working on his craft. The way he takes care of himself off the ice, the way he handles himself inside our locker room, and the way he handled himself when things weren't going well at the start of the year. It was pretty amazing for me to watch. I've been, lucky enough to be around a lot of those players, and I would say not all of them would handle it the same way he did. He just came to work every day, didn't bring anybody down. He showed to our young kids what a tremendous teammate and a leader looks like, and he's so happy for him to get some rewards. He's playing with a lot more joy here of late.
Is that the key to his longevity? Like he seems like he's been around forever.
Yeah, I think the key to his longevity is the love of the game.
Yeah.
I think he loves it. And you could see it in his face right now, but even when he was struggling, to see him, come to work every day and not change as a person just speaks of his character.
All right, so there's Andrew Brunette, head coach of the Nashville Predators. His team winding down a 7-game road trip. They're 4-2 thus far on this trip. They're coming off a win in Calgary, 4-3. They spent 4 days in Calgary listening to the team staff discuss what they did. Yes, some of them try to sneak away, and some of them did sneak away to Banff, like Gager was talking about, but a good chunk of them just stuck around in Calgary. So they're road weary. They've had a good trip. They'd like to end it on a high note, but they get an Oilers team that's absolutely chewed them up in recent years. So, Benny, I'll get to this one text and get some final thoughts from you. Stupid Peter chiming in says, the Oilers have a relatively easy schedule up until the Olympic break. They need to separate themselves from the rest of the Pacific Division here. Great opportunity to be leading division heading into the break. And that's a great point by Stupid Peter. It's just like they don't seem to take advantage of opportunities. They get glorious ones, and it's like, what happened tonight? What are you guys doing? It's right there for you. Take it. And they don't take it. They leave it. And they still haven't put together a winning streak. And to me, that not everybody values it the way I do, but I just look at them and I'm like, you guys need a winning streak. Like, good teams get winning streaks. I think another coach said it the other day. I was watching a different game, and I can't remember what game I was watching. It was Hockey Night in Canada. And it was the same thing. Like, we got to find a way to get hot and win a bunch in a row. That's what good teams do. And I was like, yes, thank you. I'm not out of my mind. Sometimes I am, absolutely, but not completely. So anyway, good text, Stupid Peter. Benny, some thoughts from you as we wind things down here.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see what kind of impact Kapanen provides today. First game back in lineup since October 19th. I think it was the stat. But nice to see him back in the lineup. Hopefully he provides some nice energy to this team. Ike Howard, see how the depth scoring. See if he can help towards that. We'll see, man. We'll see. Let's if Connor and Leon aren't going tonight, they're probably losing this one. But I'd imagine Connor will be going. Hopefully Leon gets out of his dry spell here against a team he's been very good at. So I'm excited to see what happens, and we'll talk about it all on the post-game show.
Sounds good. Nice. Well done, sir. All right. Joaquin and I are getting the heck out of here from the satellite studio. Big thank you to everybody who tuned in, texted in. We always appreciate you, whether you watched on YouTube or listened on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. Thank you guys so very, very much. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Can the Oilers get the win over the Predators, a team that's been playing very well lately? We shall see. Maybe Draisaitl gets on the score sheet in the goal column, and maybe Connor Ingram gets a nice bounce back performance after a tough one against the Boston Bruins. No Frederick, no Majapane. Preds going with 11-7, wrapping up a 7-game road trip. Oil continue to play the majority of their games at home. We'll see if they can wake up after a sluggish start after the Christmas break. For Benny and Belzy, I'm Tommy saying enjoy the game. We'll see you on the post-game show. Ciao for now.